Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
The Chicago Cubs are in town. A big weekend for baseball fans all over the valley. And wouldn't you know it, the same teams right on the Cubs' heels in their division are chasing the Diamondbacks for a wild card spot. This should be a lot of fun. It's the first of three, the Cubs and the D-backs on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Chase Field and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume and Bob Brenly along the way. It's the Cubs and the Diamondbacks, a rematch of the series we just played at Wrigley Field, this time here at Chase as this homestand continues. And the Diamondbacks tonight, Bob, kick it off with Taijuan Walker, who's pitched very well since the All-Star break, just doesn't have a win to show for it.
Yeah, he hasn't won since June 21st through no fault of his own. In his 4 starts since the All-Star break, he's 0-1 with a very respectable 3.42 ERA. The team has only scored 10 runs when he's been on the mound. He's only allowed 9 earned runs over that stretch.
So Taijuan Walker goes for the D-backs tonight. Veteran right-hander John Lackey for the Cubs. Lackey, Bob, 4 wins, 4 starts.
Yeah, he's been as good as he's been all season for the Cubs. John Lackey, however, will give up the long ball. 27 home runs allowed already this season after giving up 23 all year last year.
Going to be a big weekend here. We're set to go, the D-backs and the Cubs on Fox Sports Arizona. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Gila River Casinos. Earn rewards 10 times faster than ever before with the card by Gila River Casinos. Sign up for the card today. By Chaz Roberts, air conditioning and plumbing. Choose Chaz. By Jack in the Box and the Jumbo Jack, a home run for your mouth. By Santan Ford. We are Santan Ford. By the Donor Network of Arizona. Sign up, save lives. Visit donornetworkaz.org. And by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world.
Arizona is brought to you by your Valley Honda dealer, where you get more standard features for less money. Buy Gigablast Internet from Cox. Get ready for the gig life. Buy Oregano. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run at Oregano, your neighborhood pizza joint, location statewide. And by State Farm. State Farm is here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today or call 1-800-STATE-FARM.
90s night here at Chase Field. Taijuan Walker set to go. It's the Diamondbacks and the Chicago Cubs. First pitch is next on Fox Sports Arizona. And the Chicago Cubs, Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly, Jody Jackson, Oscar Soria, Rodrigo Lopez on the Spanish side. The opener of a three-game set and a bonus for you tonight. The Diamondback skipper, Torey Lovullo, mic'd up. Here's a sample.
Let's go do it. Let's do it, baby. Let's do it. I'm ready. I'm ready. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
He deals with that guy every day. But Torey, for the second time this year, wearing a Fox Sports Arizona microphone, and we'll play some clips throughout the ball game here. But let's take a look at the Cubs, BB. They've lost 6 of their last 9. They're reeling a little bit here. Their lineup is presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
John Jay will lead it off out in center field. Chris Bryant at third base. Anthony Rizzo at first, and that starts a run of 5 consecutive left-handed bats in the lineup for Joe Madden tonight. Ben Zobrist will be at second base cleaning up. Kyle Schwarber in left field. Alex Avila at catcher, Jason Hayward in right, Javier Baez at shortstop, and John Lackey, the veteran righty, on the mound.
So a whole bunch of lefties against the right-hander Taijuan Walker, your Ram truck starter for the Diamondbacks. Taijuan 6-5 with a 3.60. This is his first ever start against the Cubs, and tonight he looks for his first win since June 21st. He's overdue.
Now, I'll tell you, last time out against the Giants, he deserved a much better fate. 6 innings of shutout baseball, scattered 3 hits over those 6 innings, but then bumped up against the wall a little bit in the 7th inning. A double, and a home run, and chased him out of the game.
A look at the Diamondbacks defense is provided by Nationwide Vision Center.
David Peralta has people to talk to out there in the left field bleachers. A.J. Pollock will be in center field. J.D. Martinez over in right. It'll be Lamb and Marte on the left side of the infield, with Descalso and Goldschmidt on the right side. Chris Herman doing the catching tonight for right-hander Taijuan Walker.
Mike McClinsky has the balls and strikes. He's the plate umpire tonight. Mark Wegner at first base. The crew chief, Mike Winters, at second, and Marty Foster is at third. And before we get going here, Bob, it's time for your Valley Honda dealers key to the game.
Well, thanks to Archie Bradley, it's kind of turned into a thing here in Arizona. Defend the pit. Snakes either live in a den or a pit, depending on terminology that you prefer, but we like pit. Defend the pit.
It's like a National Geographic special here tonight. The first of 3 against the Cubs. And John Jay leads it off. There's ball 1. Jay, the center fielder, 292 and 2 home runs. Mention the Cubs, they're sputtering a bit. They're 5 over 500, but they've lost 6 of their last 9. Their lead over the Cardinals atop the National League Central is down to 1 game. Milwaukee is only 2 back. Pittsburgh is 3 back. So the Central, it seems, Bob, as we play on this August 11th, still very much up for grabs.
Oh, absolutely. The Cardinals have won their last 6 in a row, 7 of their last 10 to creep up on the Cubs. Brewers hanging in there. It's going to be very interesting. I mean, Pittsburgh's only 3 games back.
And of course, those teams chasing the Diamondbacks in the wild card standings. Cardinals 5.5 games behind Arizona for that second wild card spot. Brewers 6.5 back.
Ooh,
didn't go, says Marty Foster.
I think John Jay and the Cubbies got away with one there.
2-2 on the Cubs center fielder. Fastball missed, and it's full 3-2 with Bryant on deck. A lot of lefties in there, as you mentioned, Joe Madden. How big a factor is that?
Well, if Taijuan Walker has good command tonight, it won't be that much of a factor. If he's commanding that fastball on both sides of the plate and elevating, that's a pitch that a lot of left-handed hitters have trouble getting to that high fastball.
Descalso at second. 1 away. Chris Bryant now.
Third baseman, number 17, Chris Bryant.
And he's got some supporters here. Fair amount of Cub fans behind the Chicago dugout on the first base side. 279 and 20 homers for Bryant, who comes into tonight riding a 7-game hitting streak. Boy, Bryant's a big, lanky guy up there at 6'5", 230.
Really gets down in a crouch, though. He uses those legs, gets down, and has some serious lift in his swing when he makes contact.
That was the split finger pitch from Taijuan Walker, and it's 1-1. Jumps on that one. The splitter was left up, but he pulls it foul. That's a loud strike 2.
Strike 2. Gets a tremendous reaction from the fans when a big home run hitter pulls one way foul, but the pitcher on the mound is just thinking to himself, okay, strike 2. You don't get any points for hitting long foul balls. Otherwise, Jerry Hairston would be in the Hall of Fame.
In the hole, backhanded by Ketel Marte. Bryant runs well, and he's aboard. Chris Bryant moves pretty well for a big guy.
Yeah, chasing Marte deep in the hole out there at short. He plants and shows off that cannon of a throwing arm, but Bryant just too much speed, beats it down the line.
Anthony Rizzo. 1-out single for Bryant. Rizzo, 26 home runs. He's hitting .264. Rizzo used to be a guy who stood right on top of the plate, but it seems like, Bob, as you get a look at the shift, that he's backed off the plate a little bit.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Probably getting tired of having fastballs in on his knuckles.
He used to stand almost right on top and then kind of crouch and lean right over home plate. His hands were right in the strike zone almost, but he's looked like he's taken a half a step back or so.
Well, talk all the time about adjustments and counter adjustments, and if teams started to pound him inside to the point where he couldn't get the barrel to the ball, the smart thing to do is make an adjustment, back off the plate a little bit. Of course, then you become susceptible to change ups off the outside corners. In that case, the splitter from Taijuan Walker.
Just got to make sure you throw that split, you keep it down against these guys. That has the same effect really as a changeup. 1-1 on Rizzo. Bryant takes off for second and the pitch is fouled off. Chris Bryant will run. He's got 7 stolen bases. Now with 2 strikes, Jake Lamb, the third baseman, moves over closer to the second base bag. Look how much room there is on the left side of the infield for Anthony Rizzo. High fly ball right center. A.J. Pollock is there. 2 outs. Ben Zobrist, the switch hitter in the cleanup spot. He's playing second base tonight. 225 at 8 homers. He's had a kind of a disappointing offensive year. He's had some injuries, left wrist inflammation, put him on the DL back in June. He missed about 3 weeks. But Joe Madden with Ben Zobrist, kind of a mad scientist. He'll hit him lead off, clean up, you name it.
Cubs aren't a crazy base running team. As you mentioned, Bryant was 7, Rizzo has 7, Ian Happ has 7. The 3 of those guys lead the team. With the thunder that the Cubs have in the middle of this lineup, it's obvious you don't want to run into outs on the bases when the guy at the plate might hit one in the seat. So not as aggressive as some teams in the National League.
0-1 on Zobrist. Nice block by Chris Herman. That was the splitter from Taijuan, and he spiked it. Well, he's thrown that pitch a whole bunch here to start.
Nice job by Chris Herman. That ball hit well out in front of home plate. Had to really shift to his right. Keep that ball in front. Hold Chris Bryant at first.
That's pulled foul right in front of the first base coach, Brandon Hyde. Uh-oh, Skip Miller. There's Skip. Don't call me Mitch Miller, our Golden Glover down the right field line. That's all right. It's early, and there is the Doc. Doc Rosenblatt working left field tonight.
Doc's horse laughing his buddy over in the other corner. There went the fielding percentage.
They're hurting our UZR. 1-2. Bounced a cut fastball up there. That's that sort of cutter slider hybrid that Taijuan has.
I would tend to call that a legitimate slider. He just really choked it down into the dirt, down and into Zobrist that time. And if you're going to miss in your favor. Don't want to hang anything with 2 strikes to a guy that's been traditionally a pretty good 2-strike hitter.
Schwarber on deck. Reaches out and just taps it into left center field. Bryant digging for third, and he's in there. And Zobrist just stuck the bat head out there and dropped it into the outfield. A 2-out single.
Right off the end of the bat, just kind of soft served it out there into shallow left field. Old coach and manager with the Giants, Jim Davenport, the late Jim Davenport, used to say on a hit like that, it didn't even bend the grass.
Well, last time Kyle Schwarber played here at Chase Field, he left on a cart after a gruesome injury in the outfield. You may remember that last April when he collided with Dexter Fowler out there. Here's the defensive alignment. First and third, 2 outs. Schwarber jumps on the first one and fouls it back. This is the play that almost ended Schwarber's season last year, and he didn't make it back until the World Series.
Two guys going full speed, one of those tweeners that neither one could really get to without maximum effort, and they came together in a bad way.
Schwarber played in only 2 regular season games with the Cubs last year. Did make it back in time to play against the Indians in the World Series, and really did contribute. He was 7 for 17. But it was assumed after looking at that he'd be done for the season, but he was able to make it back right at the end.
And a testament to Kyle Schwarber, how hard he worked to come back and be effective in the postseason. I mean, that's nearly impossible without a lot of at-bats in game situations, but he really didn't have the opportunity to do a lot of that.
Well, Taiwan's had to throw a whole bunch of pitches in this first inning, and he's behind on Schwarber, 2-1. One of the things that's helped Taiwan lately has been getting hitters to chase when he's behind in the count. Walker has been among baseball's best starters recently at getting strikes when the batter is ahead in the pitch count. Let's see what he does here. 2-1. We'll keep an eye on Ben Zobrist over there. Taiwan, when he's behind, he can throw that slider, he can throw that split finger pitch, maybe get a swing and a miss and get back even. Doesn't always have to be a fastball here. Went to that splitter, missed with it though, and it's 3-1. Alex Avila, the catcher, on deck.
You think back to some of the earlier starts this year for Taiwan Walker, he might not even break out that splitter until the second time through the order. Just pound away with high fastballs early in the season. Got a lot of swings and misses and easy contact.
And went with a fastball that time. He must have been anticipating that the Cubs would come out here early looking for fastball, so we've seen that split finger pitch a whole bunch.
And you may see the same thing from John Lackey in the bottom half of the inning, a guy that's notorious for first pitch fastballs, but lately he's been throwing a lot more off-speed stuff to start at bats.
Well, here we go. 2 on, 2 outs, 3-2 to Kyle Schwarber. Zobrist takes off from first, and it's ball 4. So the bases are loaded for Avila. And Walker creeping up on a 30-pitch first. This is the same situation in which young Anthony Banda found himself in last night's ball game. Bases loaded first inning. Here comes Mike Richard.
The addition of Alex Avila at the time appeared to be just some insurance, somebody to give Wilson Contreras a little bit of a rest from time to time down the stretch. But with the injury to Contreras, this could turn out to be one of the better trades that happened at the deadline.
Yeah, Contreras placed on the disabled list today. He injured his right hamstring in San Francisco the other day. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks, and he was really carrying the Cubs offensively the last few weeks. So they're without Wilson Contreras. Bryant at third, Zobrist at second, and Schwarber at first. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Alex Avila steps in. Acquired from the Tigers just before the trade deadline. Fastball up and in, 1-0. Avila, 268, 12 homers. He has only 1 hit since he was traded to the Cubs, and that was a home run at Wrigley Field last weekend. Fastball got away, and Walker's behind 2-0. Already at 28 pitches. a fastball. Mike McClinsky didn't like it, and it's 3-0. Jason Hayward is the on-deck hitter for Chicago. Pitch number 30 in this first inning, on the way from Taijuan Walker. And he walked in a run. A single and back-to-back walks, all with 2 outs, and it's 1-0 Cubs.
You may see some activity in that Diamondbacks bullpen just because of pitch count. That last delivery ball for to Avila was pitch number 30 here in the first inning, and you start to get a little concerned with too many pitches in one inning.
Hayward 258, 8 homers. Didn't really look like he wanted to challenge Avila in that previous at bat.
And we did see the high fastball. Unfortunately, most of them missed the top of the zone.
Comes right after Hayward with strike 1 there. And that one gets behind Herman. The curveball from Walker brings Zobrist in, and it's 2-0.
That appeared to be a cross-up, the way Chris Herman reacted behind home plate. And you see the late reaction to that split finger breaking down and into Hayward. And Chris Herman was expecting a fastball. I know for a fact that occasionally teams will change their signs or change their sequence of signs with the runner at second base, but we're in the middle of August. That shouldn't happen this time of year.
Fastball on Chris Herman brings Zobrist home with the second Chicago run, and it's 1-1 on Hayward. Now you've got Schwarber at third and Avila at second base. 2 runs already in. Hayward gets this in the air, deep left field. Peralta. Chicago gets 2. Diamondbacks coming up. Bryant both with singles in the top of the first, both score, so the Diamondbacks are down 2-0 here against your Ram truck starter for the Cubs, the veteran right-hander John Lackey. The numbers say it's just been kind of an okay season for Lackey this year, but he's won his last 4 starts.
Yeah, same old John Lackey, sinker, slider, occasional curveball, occasional changeup. He wears his emotions on his sleeve out there. God forbid one of his teammates boots a ball behind him. Watch his reaction tonight.
Let's take a look at the lineup for Torey Lovullo's Diamondbacks. It's presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
David Peralta ready to go, playing left field, leading off. A.J. Pollock will be out in center field. Jake Lamb down at third. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. J.D. Martinez with an opposite field home run in the ball game last night will be out in right field. Daniel Descalso at second base. Ketel Marte at shortstop. Chris Herman behind the plate, and Taijuan Walker on the mound.
Nationwide Vision Centers gives us a look at the Cubs defense.
Kyle Schwarber in left, John Jay in center, Jason Hayward over in right field. The infield will be Bryant and Baez on the left side, Zobrist and Rizzo on the right side, Alex Avila behind the plate, and John Lackey, the righty, on the mound.
Ball one to Peralta, who singled twice and walked last night. 301 and 10 homers for David, who's probably jealous that Torey Lovullo gets to wear the microphone tonight and not him. He'll probably hang around Torey a lot in the dugout.
We wouldn't do that to our audio people. Mic up David for an entire ball game.
Batting practice is tough enough. Woo. Torey wearing a Fox Sports Arizona microphone for us tonight. We'll have some snippets of that throughout the ball game for you. I know a lot of members of your staff that are usually here screwing things up for us in the booth. They're down there monitoring the audio, so we have the best stuff.
My staff is multi-talented.
It's a couple of guys in a van across the street with headphones on, listening to everything. It's 3-1 now. It's like a stakeout.
And then after the game, they take the van down by the river.
They cut at that fastball, and it's full 3-2.
Yeah, you won't see John Lackey light up the radar gun. He pitches in the low 90s. Occasionally he'll sneak down in the high 80s, tries to sink it. Occasionally he'll throw a four-seamer up in the zone, but he's just what you would describe in the advanced meeting as a sinker slider guy.
Leadoff walk. Now Lackey has succeeded over the years by just kind of going out there and pounding the strike zone with a consistent delivery. Throws a lot of strikes, no secret formula. A lot of fastballs, although he does throw the slider a little more often now than he used to. He used to just have a dominant fastball, but now at 38 you see a few more sliders. A.J. Pollock, 284, 5 homers. Lackey, 38 years old. He'll be 39 in October. And he generally is kind of a 5-inning guy. Gives you what he can for 5 innings, and he's pretty much done. His 15th big league season. Pitched collegiately at Texas Arlington. He was a second-round pick by the Angels in the 1999 draft.
You want to talk about longevity. You know, we talk about, since such and such a year, this guy is among the league leaders. So how about this for John Lackey since 03? He's third in wins, third in innings pitched, and fifth in strikeouts. Only CC Sabathia and Justin Verlander have more wins since 2003. They go back to the Wayback Machine.
He's pitched on some good teams, certainly in Anaheim when Mike Scioscia was there, and he was in Boston for a while. He pitched for the Cardinals, and now in his second season with the Cubs. Picked the right year to go to the Cubs last season, that's for sure.
Yep. Good timing.
Got a 2-year, $32 million deal from the Cubs before last year. Went 11-8 with Chicago, gave them almost 190 innings. A.J. down 1-2. Got him.
That's a John Lackey slider. A lot of downward movement. Put it out there on the outer third of the plate. AJ's had some trouble with those breaking pitches low and away lately.
Lackey and Taijuan have that same kind of pitch. Oftentimes it will show up as a cut fastball, but both guys have slider movement on that pitch. A real slider from Lackey that time. Jake Lamb, 261, 25 homers. He's knocked in 90. Curveball missed. It's 1-0. Jake hitless in the last 2 games against the Dodgers following his 2-homer game on Tuesday. It is 90s night here, so here's Jake Lamb as Ace Ventura, pet detective. How were the 90s for you? Were they okay?
Yeah, they were all right.
It went by so fast.
I remember some of the 90s.
Mark McGrath is here. Big post-game street concert from Mark McGrath of Sugar Ray fame, presented by Crystal Pepsi, coming up after the ball game. He was here down on the field with Mike and Vanessa before the game. Is still over there after a leadoff walk. 2-1 on Jake Lamb. Now, we've talked all season about Jake Lamb's improved batting eye up there. He's becoming more and more a disciplined hitter. And, you know, this year he's already walked more than he did all of last season. Goldie will be next. And now Jake ahead 3-1. Ball 4. Second walk in the inning for Lackey. Good at bat there by Lamb. And here comes Paul Goldschmidt.
First baseman, number 44, Paul Goldschmidt.
Goldie 26 homers. He's knocked in 90. 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts last night against the Dodgers. That snapped a 6-game hitting streak. He's got 1 out. Peralta at second and Lamb at first. Chance here to get those 2 runs back. It's 1-0. Boy, Lackey so far 16 pitches, only 6 for strikes. This is the way Yu Darvish started last night. He's really having trouble with his control and command. John Lackey, he's all over the place out there.
Yeah, sometimes if a guy is just missing around the edges of the strike zone, you think, well, that's kind of by design. He's trying to lead the hitters out of the zone, get him to chase a borderline pitch, but he's just spraying it all over the place. I don't think that's by design.
No. If this is a plan, it's an unusual one, to say the least. Here's Chris Bosio, the pitching coach. Lackey doesn't have a whole lot of bullets to waste out there. He's been maxing out at 5-6 innings a start and hasn't thrown more than 100 pitches in a game since the middle of May. JD Martinez on deck. It's 3-0 to Goldie. Lackey's already walked 2. There's a 3-0 strike. If you're a right-hand pitcher, you will have a really hard time getting Paul Goldschmidt to bite on something outside the strike zone. It's just not going to happen. Another fastball is in there, and it's full 3-2. One spot where Goldie has been a little vulnerable lately, and we saw this last night. Fastballs in. There have been some swings and misses there lately. Darvish got him a couple of times on that pitch last night. Avila sets up, down and away. Goldie hits it right to Baez at shortstop. Zobrist for 1, and they turn the double play. 2-0 Cubs after 1. give up 2 in the first. Here he is.
You just got to hold it down. You got to hold it tight for us. I know you're frustrated. You got out of that mess. That was a good job right there. All right, keep it going. I will. Let's go.
2 singles and 2 walks in that Chicago first, and Javier Baez leads off the second.
Always try to spin positive at the end. Hey, I know you're frustrated. I know that's not what you had in mind, but you did a nice job of getting out of that jam right there. Keep it up. Try to finish on a positive.
So the numbers on Baez, already a career high 16 homers. He can swing it. Did you I guess you didn't have to do that too often with Randy and Kurt.
Not a lot, no. Just kind of look over in their direction, raise my eyebrows. You okay? Yeah, okay. Okay, go get them.
Different story with a young rotation like the one the Diamondbacks have, for sure. Big curveball there from Walker, and Baez, who will swing at anything almost, strikes out.
Pitcher number 41.
Way out in front that time. Baez steadily looking for something he can lift in the air to left field and hit it a long way.
Seen a lot of different pitches early from Taijuan Walker. Here's the pitcher Lackey. Taijuan getting the vast majority of his strikeouts with his fastball. And he's been very good at getting swings and misses when he comes inside with that fastball, especially to right-hand hitters. But that slider that we saw, he's worked a lot on that pitch. The split finger pitch, those pitches usually generate ground ball outs for him. And the curveball, like the one he just threw to Baez, sometimes a swing and a miss, gets a lot of fly balls with that pitch, and that's pretty much the kitchen sink for Taijuan Walker.
Some hitters are more susceptible to slower breaking balls. Some guys are more susceptible to the harder breaking cutter, slider, hybrid pitch. Just depends on the hitter's strengths and weaknesses and what you have working on a given night.
Oh, tried to drop the curveball in there, but Mike McClinsky didn't like it, and it's 1-2. Taijuan wanted 40 pitches, 22 strikes. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That's going to stay fair. This could be tricky. Walker is able to get Lackey, who was not exactly busting it up the line, but hey, he's 38 years old.
Hey, fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Center fielder John.
That was one of those tricky tweeners. Jake Lamb going to make sure Taijuan gets a moment to catch his breath.
Yeah, occasionally when a pitcher has to bounce off the mound like that and make a throw from an awkward position, pitchers are so conditioned to pitch out of the windup or out of the stretch, and my mechanics, I have to lift my leg and separate my hands, and when you force them to jump off the mound like that and make an awkward throw, sometimes it really upsets them.
Like that. Ooh. That curveball almost went into the Diamondback dugout. John Jay grounded out to lead off the ball game. John Jay, 6 seasons in St. Louis with the Cardinals. He was a Padre last year, now a Cub. And Taijuan's ahead 1-2. Taijuan, like Lackey in the first, kind of spraying it around here. And hit Jay in the foot.
It's that slider again.
Third baseman Chris Bryant.
Jay didn't make much of an effort to get out of the way of that one. Takes it off the foot and heads on down to first base.
And now here's Bryant, who singled and scored in the first inning. So his hitting streak is now up to 8 games. He's hit safely in 11 of his last 13. Fastballs is striking. It's 0-1.
And John Jay, despite being a leadoff hitter and a center fielder, doesn't really run much at all anymore. Only 3 attempts all season. He's been successful twice. Just make him stop.
The Federalist, John Jay. Fastball fouled straight back, and it's 0-2.
I still like that high Taijuan Walker 4-seam fastball. We saw one right there to Chris Bryant just above the top of the strike zone. It's so tempting for a hitter to swing at, but so tough to square it up. You might make contact, but it's probably going to be a pop up to the infield or a shallow fly ball to the outfield.
Chris Herman back there tonight.
Go right back up there again.
Bryant lays off, and it's 1-2. Bryant this season really making some progress. He's walking much more often and striking out a lot less. As a rookie 2 years ago, he led the National League in strikeouts, but his strikeout numbers have really dropped significantly the last 2 years. Jay takes off. No throw from Herman. Third stolen base for John Jay.
Taijuan just fell into too much of a rhythm out there on the mound. Come set, throw home. Come set, throw home. Same timing every delivery, and John Jay anticipated, was able to steal his 3rd base of the season.
Well, it's a good sign for a guy who just got hit in the foot. 2-2 on Bryant. Taijuan about to throw pitch number 50 here. Anthony Rizzo would be next. 2 outs. Jay at second. 2-2 on Chris Bryant. Try the breaking ball and missed, and the count is full 3-2. Taijuan was looking at a quick 1-2-3 second. He struck out Baez, got Lackey to ground out, but then hit Jay in the foot with a pitch, and now he's running full on Bryant. Belted into left. They're waving Jay home. The throw from Peralta is cut off. 3-0 Cubs. The run is home, and Bryant is out at second. Second hit tonight for Chris Bryant. This one drives in a run. Diamondbacks are down 3-0. Bello wearing a microphone for us tonight, but when you chew as much gum as Torrey does, it creates a problem. Here's Jake Lamb.
What's the average lifespan of these gumballs for you?
That's a really good question. I'll tell you, probably about 1.5 minutes, and then I'm ready to throw it out.
So it's about 90 seconds per gumball. That's what he's averaging.
Well, I know the feeling. Back in the day, I used to chew gum during games, and by the end of a close, tight one-run game, my jaws would be sore from chewing gum.
Yeah, they have big tubs of them in the dugout, in the clubhouse. These big double bubble gumballs. You got every kind of flavor: watermelon and grape and apple and regular. I mean, it's everywhere. Stuff to chew on. Sunflower seeds.
And there is sugarless gum down there for those of you who are concerned about sugar intake.
J.D. Martinez leads off the second against John Lackey. J.D. homered last night, his second home run this month. Well, just like last night, Diamondbacks going to have to come back from a 3-0 lead early. Dodgers got 3 in the first last night. Cubs 2 in the first, 1 in the second here tonight. 1 and 2 on Martinez. Lackey walked 2 in that first inning and was behind on Paul Goldschmidt 3-0, but got Goldie to hit into a double play, and that ended the thread. That's going to get out of play.
Partner, I'm watching Alex Avila behind the plate there, and with the mask on, he looks a little bit like former D-backs pitcher Armando Reynoso.
Maybe it is him. Last time we saw Alex Avila had all his Tigers colored catcher's gear. He's going to have to be the guy, Wilson Contreras. A hamstring injury this week when the Giants were hosting Cubs, and Contreras is going to be out at least a month, they think. As you said, good thing they got Avila at the deadline from the Tigers.
I mean, nothing against Victor Caratini, who is their backup catcher now and was backing up Contreras before they got Avila, but you'd much rather have a veteran back there, a guy that's been through some wars. He's caught some veteran pitchers over the course of his career. A little more trust in a veteran guy back there behind the plate.
Daniel Descalso, the second baseman tonight, is on deck. 2-2 on J.D. Martinez. Able to lay off that Lackey slider, and it's full 3-2. It's already the third full count through 5 hitters for John Lackey. JD lifts this one to shallow right center. Long run in for Jay. 1 down. Here's Descalso coming off a 3-hit night last night against LA. Now at 242 with 6 homers. Torey Lovullo saying before the game yesterday that Brandon Drury is going to be on the bench for a while, and they're going to go with the Descalso Rosales combo at second base, with Ketel Marte seeing the bulk of the time at shortstop. Chris Owings trying to get healthy. Nick Ahmed was taking ground balls before the game today. There's Brandon Drury. Good to see Nick out there fielding some grounders. They think he might be able to come back maybe the last week of August. They're optimistic. Hopefully by September 1st.
Yeah, Nick was having a surprisingly good offensive season. kept saying if Nick could hit 250, he'd play every day in the big leagues. Well, he's hitting over 250. Had 6 home runs in the 53 ball games he played before the hand injury.
And they ran out of shortstops in a hurry.
Yeah.
Here's Nick Ahmed. So hopefully Nick can get out there by Labor Day weekend. Ketel Marte's done a terrific job in the meantime. 3-1 to Descalso. Hold on there, Daniel. Mike McClinsky says 3-2. Boy, you know, I just wish I had $1 for every time a hitter had that reaction. That's a borderline pitch,
Yeah,
though.
that's one that you can understand that being a called strike. One of the red seams might have caught the outside of the black, but it should be considered a strike.
That one is not.
Hey fans, a D-backs home run tonight means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack-in-a-Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
D-backs already down 3-0. Just got to take advantage of Lackey's lack of command. He's faced 6 batters so far and walked 3 of them. They couldn't get a run across after 2 walks in the first. Here's Ketel Marte with Descalso at first and 1 out. Another ball from Lackey. Ketel Marte now with a 10-game hitting streak. And he's batting .412 during his hit streak. Switch hitter from a guy who can homer from both sides of the plate. Boy, Lackey is just all over it. 2-0 now.
This is really the way you keyhole a pitcher, and by that we mean you look for one pitch in one zone, and if it's not there, take it. If he happens to hit the strike zone, then you change your approach. But when he's struggling to find the plate the way he is, you're looking for one pitch in one zone and be ready to turn on it.
Got the slider and missed. 2-1. So anything that's not in that keyhole, you're just spitting on it.
Yeah, you take it even if it's a called strike. And then you reset your recalibrate. Buffer. Yeah, you have to have some kind of a game plan when a pitcher's spraying it around the way John Lackey is tonight.
Well, Lackey, a couple of sliders gets him back even 2-2.
And it's worth for the guys in the dugout watching these at bats. What pitch does he go to when he does fall behind in the count? And John Lackey seems to have a lot of confidence in that slider even when he's behind in the count. So maybe in your next at bat, if you find yourself in the same situation, maybe you look for a slider.
Yeah, he's thrown that slider more this year than ever before. 2-2. Ketel Marte lifts it in the air to Hayward in right field. Long run. And the Golden Glover runs it down. 2 outs in the second. Jason Hayward last year won his 3rd consecutive Gold Glove, so that's not the place to find base hits out there in right field.
No way to make a living in the big leagues, young man. Don't hit it to the Gold Glovers.
It's one of my favorite ones. Here's the Herminator. 156 and 8 homers. Chris in an 0 for 23 stretch right now up there. He's due one of these days to hit one about 440. It's coming. Just trying to get some consistent playing time, consistent at bats. So often he's up there as a pinch hitter against a left-handed reliever. It's just been that kind of a run lately for Chris. Another slider from Lackey, and it's 1-1. Descalso, the runner at first base. 3rd walk of the ball game issued by Lackey, but the Diamondbacks still looking for their first hit. That one is slapped by Bryant at 3rd into the left. A base hit for Herman.
Pitcher number 99.
So that backdoor slider just kind of spun up there. Didn't take a lot of break, and Chris Herman shoots it by Chris Bryant into left field. Hopefully that'll be the one to break the seal and get Chris Herman going.
2 on, 2 out for the pitcher. Taijuan Walker does have 8 base hits this year, including a home run here at Chase Field earlier this season. Went halfway up the bleachers and left. See if you can get Lackey to hang a slider here. Descalso at second and Herman at first.
He got a slider, but he didn't hang it.
No.
Dropped it out there on the outside corner at the knees.
Lackey always looks like he's in pain out there.
Yeah, like his shorts don't fit quite right or something. He just never looks quite comfortable.
It's been that way for 15 years. Doubled up on that slider, and it's 0-2. Diamondbacks 1 game behind the Rockies for that first National League wild card spot. Cardinals are 5.5 behind the D-backs. Brewers 6.5. Right now Colorado is losing at Miami 6-3. They're in the 9th inning at Marlins Park. Cardinals have a 6-5 lead over the Braves at Busch Stadium. They're in the 7th inning. That one is blocked by Avila. Brewers, boy, they're just sinking fast. Cincinnati went to Miller Park and they got a 10-2 lead in the 6th inning. Milwaukee's really hit the skids lately.
Yeah, they lost 5 in a row going into play tonight, as you mentioned, trailing the Reds by 8 runs in the 6th inning.
1-2 on Taijuan Walker. And Lackey gets the strikeout, his second of the ball game, and strands 2. Diamondbacks trail the Cubs 3-0.
And we have some news on the rotation. Not surprising news, really, when you think about it. But rookie Anthony Banda has 3 major league starts under his belt. He will get a 4th. He will stay in the rotation. It will stay set for the next week, pitching Tuesday against Houston. Now, I talked to Robbie Ray today. He said he feels great, and he is on track to have that sim game tomorrow. But that would still not put him in the rotation this upcoming week. In fact, Torey Lovello kind of advocating a rehab stint, but we shall see. And And so for Banda, they like the fact that in his start at San Francisco, yes, he had some trouble in that 4th inning, but that he got his first major league win that day. And then last night ran into some trouble early, but they like the way he's been able to regroup. So he will stay in the rotation for now, guys.
Yeah, Jody Anthony did a great job last night after that 1st inning of giving the Diamondbacks a chance to come back in the game. Retired the last 7 he faced in that ball game. Bob, what do you think about what you've seen from Anthony Banda so far?
I really like it. I mean, we were talking about it earlier this afternoon. Anthony Banda, especially first time through an opposing lineup, can be really sneaky quick with his fastball. And as long as his command is good, his secondary stuff is out of the middle of the plate, we know he has poise out there on the mound well beyond his years. Just doesn't seem to rattle even when he has traffic on base around him, working his way through the middle of the opposing lineup. He just never seems to get too rattled.
Anthony Rizzo leads off the Cub 3rd. Rizzo flying out to center his first time up. D-backs have the shift on against the left-hand batter. Fastball up and in, missed. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Neither guy tonight, Taijuan Walker or John Lackey, has been especially sharp. Squib shot. Taijuan's on it. Plants and throws. Goldie keeps a foot on the bag. That's twice tonight. Taijuan Walker has ranged over there, made a really nice play.
Yeah, very similar to the play he made on John Lackey. Barehanded play, sets that right foot, gets off a strong throw to Goldie in plenty of time.
Well, Taijuan will tell you he will challenge Patrick Corbin for the title of best basketball player on the Diamondbacks. So he's a good athlete out there.
Yeah, he is.
Here's Ben Zobrist, who singled and scored in the 1st inning, batting cleanup tonight. Zobrist, a switch hitter. He's about 240 lefty, 180 right-handed. That one is just foul. Here comes Skip Miller. Oh, Skip was right there.
Good redeemer, Skip. That baby.
Good bounce back. Saw Skip's reaction when he caught that. Yeah. Zobrist doing that cement mixer thing with his hands as always. He's been doing that for years now. Gets those hands back behind his head and then just kind of like stirs it up. Right there. There it is. Big slow curveball. It stays 1-2.
I still insist that Ben Zobrist, 10 years in the American League, were a waste. Perfect National League player.
Oh yeah.
Guy plays multiple positions. I'll tip that time for strike 3 right into the mid of Chris Herman. Switch hitter. He used to be able to run pretty well. He would have been an ideal National League player all those years he was in Tampa Bay and Oakland, Kansas City.
Got a lot of money at a late age because he can do those things. Ben Zobrist. Cubs were not shy about paying Ben Zobrist. Here's Kyle Schwarber. Walked his first time up. The Schwarber shift is on. You look at the way Kyle Schwarber is built, 6'0", 235. You can see why he was drafted as a catcher. He's got kind of that, if you don't mind my saying, catcher's physique. Well, that's about the 4th or 5th time Taijuan has just thrown a zoom ball up there. Chris Herman's had to jump up and get some rebounds. Well, Schwarber was a catcher at Indiana. He was a Hoosier. And the Cubs made him the 4th pick in the draft 3 years ago. And they decided, well, you can't have him back there catching, getting beaten up. Let's put him in the outfield. So that's what they did. And sure enough, he got hurt out there. So what can you do?
Well, trying to protect him from injuries behind the plate by moving as far away from the ball as you possibly could, and he still gets hurt.
Yeah, serious leg and knee injuries in that collision we showed you earlier here at Chase Field last April. Well, he's got some pop. 18 home runs, already a career high. Another big crowd here at Chase Field. Big crowds expected all weekend. Diamondbacks and Cubs. Still some tickets left for the games tomorrow night and Sunday. dbacks.com/tickets. Patrick Corbett and John Lester tomorrow night. Zach Godley and Jake Arrieta on Sunday. 3-2 to Kyle Schwarber. Lifted in the air, deep center field. A.J. Pollock at the track. He's under the home run porch, and he's got it. A 1-2-3 third for Taijuan Walker, who trails it 3-0. $3-0. And fans, you can now participate in our D-backs 50-50 charity raffle from home along with the fans here at Chase Field. You can purchase tickets online for your chance to win half the pot tonight and help kids in our community. Get your tickets at dbacks.com/50-50 raffle. And don't forget, stay tuned for the Diamondbacks Live post-game show to see if you won.
But wait, there's more.
Now how much would you pay?
Well, as you know, with big crowds here at Chase Field, the Diamondbacks occasionally will give you 80 chances to win the 50-50 for $20 instead of the usual 40 picks. So you want to jump on this, a special offer for this Cubs series, $20, you get 80 chances to win instead of the usual 40.
Wow. Just saw the pot is up to nearly $27,000 so far tonight. Big crowd here at Chase Field. David Peralta leads off the third. He walked his first time up. That's a great chance you can feel like you're here at the ballpark with us. Get your 50-50 raffle tickets online, dbacks.com/50-50 raffle. And don't forget, we'll tell you if you won on the Diamondbacks Live postgame show after the ball game on Fox Sports Arizona. This is popped up, foul ground, first base side. Rizzo's under.
I mean, that 80 for 20 is a good deal. We do that ourselves here when the 50-50 people go down the press row occasionally to see if anybody's interested. And yeah, when they're giving you 80 chances for 20 bucks, a lot of people up here on press row jump on that one.
Well, because everybody wants to help out. Not only do you get a chance to win half the pot, but boy, you go help all the great charities that the Diamondbacks run. Diamondbacks Foundation. A.J. Pollock struck out his first time up. A.J.'s doubled in each of his last 2 games. But his hits have been a little sporadic. He's in a 4 for 31 skid right now. Trying to get heated up again. That's the thing about the way things have gone lately. You know, Goldie's doing his thing, and Jake Lamb hits the big home run now and again. But it's, you know, Peralta's been a little quiet lately. Pollock's been a little quiet lately. Drury is slumping.
We've been waiting for that shock and awe inning that the Diamondbacks seemingly did almost every night in the first half of the season, where they would string together 5 or 6 base hits and a couple walks and take advantage of an opposing error, put crooked numbers on the board.
Yeah, it seemed like they would bat around in an inning almost twice a week. But I haven't really seen that since May or so. It's been quiet for Torrey's boys lately.
Well, it will be back. That's just the nature of baseball. Things run in cycles. And you just hope when a couple guys are on a down cycle that a couple of other guys are red hot and can kind of carry them along for a few days or a week at a time.
Well, the Cubs are going through that right now. They've lost 3 series in a row. Chicago. They've lost 6 of their last 9 games. And the guy that Anthony Rizzo said was just carrying their offense, Wilson Contreras, is hurt now. Pollock strikes out for the 2nd time tonight.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Yeah, the Cubs, I mean, people are wondering, are they going to hang on and win the National League Central? They only have a 1-game lead over the Cardinals. Atop the division right now, St. Louis is leading Atlanta 6-5. They're in the 7th inning at Busch Stadium. Jake Lamb walked his first time up.
Yeah, the Cubs last year at this time had 72 victories. This year they have 59. And you look at the numbers, and the offense is a little bit off this year. Not much. It's marginally off the numbers they were setting last year as a team. But the real difference is on that bump out there in the middle of the field. Starters ERA almost a run and a half more than it was last year. The team ERA almost a full run higher than it was last season.
Yeah, at this time last year, the Cubs were the Dodgers.
Yeah, good call.
They were rolling. But look at that. Cardinals 1 back. Milwaukee 2 back. Pittsburgh's within 3 games of the division lead. So the Pirates aren't out of it yet. And everybody expected that the Cubs, you know, they had kind of a middling first half. They were 2 games under 500 at the All-Star break. Figured, they'll turn it on in the second half. They'll win by, 10 games or so, but that's not happening. There's a fly ball to right center field. John Jay calling on Hayward. John Lackey set down 4 in a row. Diamondbacks trail at 3-0. Good thing that happened during the commercial, probably. Hey fans, don't forget MLB.tv. It's every night, every device. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live and get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply, so visit MLB.tv for details. The catcher Alex Avila leads off the Chicago 4th against Taijuan Walker. Were you doing the Macarena back in the 90s?
No.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I do like that, though, the dance cam that they have here between innings. They pick a dance and play the appropriate music and ask the fans to dance along with the rally backs here at the ballpark. We did the what's it called, the Carlton last?
The Carlton with Tom Jones. Yeah. Not unusual. Everybody remembered how to do the Macarena. That was the surprising thing. It's been a while, but there are people Macarena-ing all over the place here.
Macarena-ing?
Well, I just invented a word. Not the first time. Won't be the last. Usually it's by accident.
Well, since it is 90s night,
yeah,
I'll throw a little trivia your way.
Oh boy, 90s trivia.
Yeah, who led Major League Baseball in hits during the 90s?
Oh, I know this one.
Yeah.
Because he came in before the game and told me.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding, of course. It's Mark Grace.
Yeah, Gracie, 1,754 hits in the 90s. He also led the 90s in doubles.
Gracie owned the 90s.
Yes, he did.
There he is. Gracie, 90s, your thoughts? He's been on vacation, Gracie.
Well, we're glad he's back.
Yeah, it's good to have him back.
How about triples in the 90s? This is a little tougher,
Oof, boy.
The one dog.
Lance Johnson.
Yeah, Lance Johnson.
That's a great nickname.
Yeah, 113 triples during the 90s and home runs. Big red-headed hitting coach for the Padres. Bench coach.
Well, yeah, I know. Mark McGuire.
Yeah,
okay.
RBIs?
Listen, McGuire.
No, this is a little bit of a surprise, although it shouldn't be.
Sammy Sosa.
No. Albert Bell. Nearly 1,100 RBIs. 1099.
With a cork bat. Sometimes. Leadoff walk. It's the second time of the game that he's walked Avila. He almost pitched around him with the bases loaded, it looked like, in the first inning. The leadoff walk starts the 4th, and here's Jason Hayward.
And the last offensive category that I'll trouble you with here is batting average. In the 90s, slam dunk.
Ichiro. No. That's the wrong decade. Give me the team.
Oh, that'd make it way too easy. San Diego Padres.
Oh, Tony Gwynn.
Tony Gwynn hit 344 in the 90s.
For a decade. Wow. That's a decade at 344.
Wow.
Holy cow. That one is way back. Martinez, it might stay in the yard, and it does. Jason Hayward got under that just a smidge, and it's allowed out number 1 in the 4th.
I think Hayward thought it was gone. I think a lot of people in the ballpark thought that one was gone off the bat, but just got a little under it, hit it too high. Too high.
What do you mean too high?
Too high.
Javier Baez and fishing for curveballs his first time up, as he often does. Shortstop, backhander. Descalso decides to hang on. Baez runs well, and he was safe easily. That was a nice play at shortstop in the hole there by Ketel Marte.
Pitcher, John Lackey.
Yeah, especially to get the lead runner at second base and keep the Cubs out of scoring position. Backhanded play running into the hole. Almost came out the end of the glove right there, but he manages to hang on, and Daniel Descalso makes a wise decision right there. No sense risking a bad throw and putting Baez at second base. You just got the runner out of scoring position with the force play.
And now he'll work with 2 outs to the pitcher, John Lackey. Taiwan down 3-0. He's only given up 3 hits in the game, all singles, but he's walked 3. None of those walks have scored. 1 walk did come with the bases full, however. That game at Marlins Park has gone final, so the Rockies have lost tonight. Miami beat Colorado 6-3, so that's good news. Brewers are trying to come back at home against the Reds. It's now 10-8 in the 6th inning at Miller Park. Cardinals still lead the Braves 6-5. They're in the 8th in St. Louis. Dodgers back home hosting the Padres. And San Diego just took a 2-1 lead. They're in the 3rd. Rich Hill on the mound against Clayton Richard in that one.
Well, the Brewers have scored 7 runs so far in the bottom of the 6th. It's now 10-9.
Wow. That was a 10-2 Cincinnati lead. That one was over. But not yet. Still a ways to go there in Milwaukee. It's going to get back behind the screen and out of play. Well, Taiwan Walker at 83 pitches, and he's not yet through the 4th inning. Diamondbacks long man is T.J. McFarland, and T.J. gave Torey Lovullo 2 innings last night. And now Taiwan is running full on the pitcher Lackey 3-2. That's too many.
Well, you'd like to think he would have a quick inning somewhere along the line. You know, one of those 7, 8, 9 pitch innings, get his team right back in the dugout. Every inning has been a grind with the exception of that 3rd.
Lamb spins and throws. Pretty play by Jake Lamb at 3rd. Diamondbacks need to get something going. They trail at 3-0. And they lead the Diamondbacks 3-0 as we start at the bottom of the 4th. Pardon me. Big crowd here tonight. John Lackey, though, has only given up 1 hit. He's got a 3-0 lead as we start the home half of the 4th inning. And your State Farm winning combo. John Lackey, he may walk some guys here, Bob. He's walked 3 tonight, but usually they don't score.
Yeah, that's walking the tightrope, and John Lackey's been able to do that successfully this season and pretty much throughout his career. I think he's one of those guys that kind of picks who he wants to attack and who he wants to pitch around, and those numbers would point out he's not afraid to pitch with guys on base.
Well, he walked 2 of the first 3 batters he faced tonight, Peralta and Lamb. In the first inning, Goldie came up 2 on 1 out. And Lackey got him to hit into a 6-4-3 double play. And Goldie will lead off the 4th. The only hit for the D-backs so far, a Chris Herman 2-out single in the 2nd.
This crowd is just waiting for something to jump up out of their seats and get behind the D-backs.
Boy, the atmosphere for some of those Dodger games, tremendous in here. People were into it. Those moments where the game hung in the balance for either side, the Goldie chance, the let's go D-backs chance, people were on their feet. And we got a packed house in here tonight. There's that Lackey slider. We've seen it a lot lately. And he's ahead 0-2. Lackey, as the month of June ended, was really not having a great year. He was 5-9 at that point, but he's 4-0 in his last 5 starts. All 5 of those starts have been Cubs wins. His 4-game winning streak is the longest by a Cubs starting pitcher this year. And he strikes out Goldie on another slider. 4 strikeouts for Lackey. He sent down 5 in a row.
That's unquestionably his go-to pitch with 2 strikes today. Also, he's thrown a lot when he's been behind in the count. Pretty apparent that John Lackey's got a good feel for that slider tonight and will go to it often.
J.D. Martinez flying out to center his first time up tonight. We've seen J.D. very aggressive early in counts. Makes a hack at the first pitch. Baez backhands it from the grass. 2 down.
Hey fans, we invite you to participate in Gila River game nights by signing up at one of the interactive kiosks located at Chase Field during any D-backs home game. Boy, the young lady that participated today nailed it. She had like 18 seconds left on the clock when she finished the puzzle.
That's big. Yeah, you don't do well at the game here. They let you have it.
They let you know.
Pressure. Descalso walked his first time up. Lackey looking for his 2nd consecutive 1-2-3 inning. Swing and a miss. The offensive malaise continues. 7 straight set down by Lackey. Diamondbacks trail it 3-0. Buy your local Fry's and stock up on your favorite Pepsi products. You can use your VIP card and earn valuable D-backs rewards points that you can redeem for merchandise and for game experiences. Pepsi, it's the official soft drink of your Arizona Diamondbacks. All Cubs so far, they lead at 3-0. Diamondbacks only one hit through 4 innings against John Lackey. John Jay leads off the 5th against Taijuan Walker. Cubs have only 3 hits, all singles. Walker has walked 3, 1 with the bases loaded, and struck out 2. Slap foul right by third base coach Gary Jones. 90 pitches for Taijuan. 51 for strikes. Descalso smothers that one. Gets up and throws him out. 1 down.
Nice play on a short hop there. Just kind of smothers it. That's a luxury at second base. You got plenty of time to get to your feet and still get the out at first base.
Chris Bryant's a pair of singles so far. He's scored a run. He's knocked in a run. Taijuan Walker's spot in the batting order is due up 3rd in the home half of this inning. He's at 92 pitches right now. A lot of debate after the game last night about Torey Lovullo lifting Anthony Banda for a pinch hitter there in the bottom of the 4th. And the Diamondbacks were trailing the Dodgers. But Torey decided, and that was the moment he was going to try and get some runs back, and the bullpen was in good shape and move on from there. It backfired on him. But that was, you know, for a guy that's loaded up with every analytic that a manager can possibly have. He has every single set of number that you could possibly ask for. He went with his gut on that one, which I think is a good thing. Want to be married to those numbers sometimes. You just got to go with your instincts, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to trust your eyes as well. Torey's been around this game for a long time. He knows what he sees in batting practice. He knows the body language of his team and which guys maybe are ready to bust out and do something fantastic. And you know, also he's extended pitchers this year all season long, pushing that starter to give him one more inning.
Ouch. Bryant's got the elbow guard on there. It looks like it hit it.
Hey fans, rep your team and state tomorrow. The first 20,000 fans to tomorrow's game will get the Arizona flag cap courtesy of Gila River Casinos. It's not too late to get tickets. Visit dbacks.com. We got ours today. I got a pretty good feeling about this this flag cap. I think it could be a go-to fishing hat.
It's a really cool looking logo too. The state of Arizona logo on there with the Diamondback A. It's a really cool looking hat. Rizzo 0 for 2. The thing about that spot with Banda last night, it was a 3-1 bottom 4 early to pull your pitcher, but Martinez hit a homer. They had 2 on and 2 out, a chance to get back in the game with 1 swing or even take the lead. And he rolled the dice a little bit.
Well, and I think that speaks to the offensive struggles. He didn't know how many more opportunities the Diamondbacks were going to get in that game. You got to take your shot where you think when you're behind. Hey, if you felt like your offense was going to score some more runs, maybe extend Anthony 1 more inning or 2 more innings depending on pitch count. But you got to take your shot to score runs when the offense is sputtering the way they have been lately.
Yeah, so they hit Brandon Drury. Brandon ended up striking out against Yu Darvish. 1-1 on Rizzo.
Nice save there by Goldie. That ball almost went down the right field line.
Popped it up. Descalso behind first. And he's got it in foul ground, 2 outs. Rizzo 0 for 3, and that brings up Ben Zobrist.
Second baseman, Ben.
Well, 99 pitches for number 99 through 4 2/3. That's a whole bunch. Zobrist has singled, scored a run, and struck out. He's 1 for 2. Center field, AJ. Taiwan 100 pitches through 5 innings. He trails it 3-0.
Ketel Marte to lead this inning off for the Diamondbacks, looking for a spark offensively from the bottom of their order. Talking to Torey Lovello about Ketel earlier today, I asked about the ceiling for this young man. He's really showed some flashes lately, getting more and more comfortable. He said he played some in Seattle, and we felt like he could still develop some more, so that's why he started at AAA. And he said that's a tough task, but he handled it very, very well. He said he's been all that we've hoped for. Quality at-bats, understands what is asked for in each at-bat, and then defensively making hard plays look easy. So right now, what's asked for, get on base, right?
That's right. Jody Ketel flied out his first time up. Got a 10-game hitting streak coming into tonight. And he leads off the 5th against John Lackey, who so far has given up only 1 hit. That was a Chris Herman 2-out single in the 2nd. And the thing about Ketel Marte, he's only 23. He'll be 24 in October. But when the Diamondbacks got him, he had more than 700 major league plate appearances with Seattle the previous 2 seasons. So this is a guy who was in the big leagues at 21. And maybe he was rushed to the majors a bit, so some fine tuning at Reno.
Well, we know as far as his equipment goes, he definitely was rushed to the Diamondbacks. You remember when he got called up, he didn't have the right color shoes, so he went to a sporting goods store and bought a pair of black and white cleats. Tonight he's wearing the teal. We saw him in that 3-game series against the Dodgers wear a different color shoe every ball game. So welcome to the big leagues, Ketel Marte.
Got some swag.
Yep. Yeah, he wore the teal ones for the first game of the Dodger series. He wore white ones for game 2 and then broke out the red and black ones yesterday. Back to the teal here tonight.
Well, Well, you think about starting the year at AAA Reno, and Cattell did get called up. He was leading all of minor league baseball in hits. Played his first 70 games this year with the Aces in the Coast League and was hitting .338. Lackey goes back to that slider. This is getting to be like a broken record, that John Lackey slider. That's his 6th strikeout.
Catcher, Chris Hartman.
Chris Herman has the Diamondbacks' only hit. Lackey has struck out 4 the last 6 he's faced. Comes in from 3rd. Herman just does beat it out. Chris Bryant has a tremendous throwing arm, but he had to come a little too far in that time to get Herman.
There you go, Madden. Stalling for a little bit of time there as the Cubs take a look. Swinging bunt to the third base side. Nice barehanded play. Strong throw. But in the estimation of Mark Wegner down there at first base, Herman was able to beat it out.
That really checked up on the grass for him. So Chris Herman, who was in a 4 for 58 slump, 4 for 58 coming into the game tonight, is 2 for 2. He's got the Diamondbacks' only 2 hits. Taijuan Walker will take the at bat here. He's thrown 100 pitches in the ball game, so he will hit with 1 out in the 5th, and he squares to bunt.
Taijuan with 1 sack bunt on the season. Robbie Ray leads the pitchers with 5 sacrifice bunts. Zach Greinke and Zach Godley each with 4.
Squares up again. Both corners come crashing in, and it's 1-1. Torey Lovullo went to the bench early for his pitcher last night. But here tonight, Walker hits in the 5th. Pulls back and takes a strike. It's 1-2. Tony Perez-Chica coaching at 3rd. Taijuan can't get the bunt down and strikes out. That's 7 strikeouts for John Lackey. Here's David Peralta. He has walked and popped up. Guess what pitch that was?
Yeah. There must be something about the rotation on that pitch or the way John Lackey's releasing it. The Diamondbacks are just not recognizing that slider.
Just a ton of swings and misses with that slider. Avila sets up, down and away. Fastball, Peralta drives it to right and gone. The freight train makes it a 1-run ball game.
Boy, that was was a laser beam home run off the bat of David Peralta. Caught that fastball right on the barrel. Lackey trying to go down low and away. You see where Avila sets up. The pitch is on the inside part of the plate. And David hits one way out of here to right field.
Well, hopefully that's the jump start that the Diamondbacks offense has been waiting for. You see Lackey's reaction. That's the 28th home run he's given up this year. That's a real problem for him. David Peralta, Jumbo Jack. Head down to Jack in the Box tomorrow and get a free Jumbo Jack with a purchase of a large drink. A.J. Pollock has struck out twice so far, 0 for 2. Comes to shortstop, Baez. David Peralta gets the D-backs back in the game. His 11th home run of the year makes it a 3-2 Chicago lead. Pitches through 5 innings. Torey Lovullo let him know not only what he hit in the home half of the 5th, he was going back out there for the 6th.
Hey, you did a good job. This is why you work your ass off in between starts, and so you're strong and your body's ready for this challenge. You're going to get me 3 outs, all right?
This is the way Torey has done this, Bob, all year long. You go back out there and extend the pitch count, but if you don't get the 3 outs, sometimes he'll pull the plug. There is no one warming up, however, in the bullpen. And Schwarber leads off the 6th.
And I don't think you'll see anybody warming up in the bullpen unless the Cubs get a runner on base early in the inning here.
Well, there is some stirring down there. Nothing doing as of yet. Schwarber has walked and flied out. Taiwan out there throwing strikes. D-backs have the shift on for Schwarber. Curveball, and it's 1-2.
Jorge De La Rosa just kind of standing there going over the Cubs lineup with Mike Fetters. He hasn't really thrown a pitch yet. He's kind of waiting to see how this inning progresses.
Schwarber gets into one and drives it deep right center. And it's gone. Kyle Schwarber, that's his 19th.
Come inside the pitch straight away. You can see Chris Herman sets up and then has to reach way out to his left. Never gets the ball, however, because Schwarber intercepts it and hits it up on the home run porch.
4-2 Cubs. Alex Avila, the catcher, has walked twice. That's going to reach the seats. Remember, Jorge De La Rosa had a bumpy ride in the 6th inning last night. Jorge gave up a couple of runs through 33 pitches in that 6th inning last night. And he's down there warming up. Sanderson Ford bullpen. Didn't go. That's Marty Foster down there. That was only the 12th home run given up all year by Taijuan Walker. He usually keeps it in the yard.
Yeah, which is really a low number for a guy that relies so heavily on high fastballs.
Yeah. I mean, Lackey's primarily a fastball pitcher. He's given up 28. That was the first Cubs hit since Bryant's RBI single in the 2nd inning. Taijuan's only given up 4 hits all night. In the air, deep center field, A.J. Pollock. And that one is gone. Schwarber and Avila go back-to-back to open up the 6th. And sending Taijuan Walker back out there, just not working out tonight. Two Cubs back after this. Cubs 5-2, and on for the 2nd night in a row, answering the Ashline call to the bullpen. It's Jorge De La Rosa, who had a dicey 6th inning last night. Gave up a 2-run double to Justin Turner after a walk to Chris Taylor and a single by Kyle Farmer. So Jorge last night threw 33 pitches, gave up 2 runs, and he's out there after Schwarber and Avila go back-to-back off Taijuan Walker to open up the Chicago 6th.
Well, with 5 left-handed hitters and a switch hitter in the Cubs lineup, you knew the first relief pitcher out of that bullpen was going to be a lefty.
Boy, it's kind of for Torrey the last 2 games. Damned if you do and damned if you don't in terms of pulling your pitcher out of there. Decided to stick with Taiwan against a couple of lefties, and both guys took him deep. Hayward 0 for 2 so far. That home run by Alex Avila. He's only got 2 hits since he became a Cub, and they're both home runs. So they're getting some bang for their buck, as it were. There's the Cubs catcher. His 13th of the year. He used to be a Detroit Tigers teammate with J.D. Martinez. 2-2 on Hayward. Hayward strikes out. That's 1 down here in the 6th.
Shortstop, Javier Baez.
Javier Baez 0 for 2 so far. Cardinals have won, so the pressure from St. Louis continues. They beat the Braves in St. Louis 8-5. Cardinals began play today 5.5 games behind the Diamondbacks for the 2nd National League wild card, and only 1 game behind these Cubs for the Central Division lead. And so St. Louis's hot streak continues. So this is a game the Cubs need. Milwaukee, which was only 2 games behind Chicago, trying to come back at home against the Reds. That's 11-9 in the 8th inning, and that one got Chris Herman. Boy, Baez just takes these wild swings.
Yeah, and a big backswing. After he misses, he really extends that bat around behind his back. He's caught several catchers this summer on this backswing. Man, boy, fortunately just caught the edge of the mask right there.
Mike McClinsky, the plate umpire. Boy, every time Herm is back there, it's just beat on the catcher night. Well, Baez decides to lay off one finally. That split changeup from De La Rosa. Center, A.J. Pollock has room.
Hey fans, D-backs season tickets for the 2018 season are on sale right now. Customize your own plan with a series, a weekend, or a half season, or go all in with a full season ticket plan plus all the benefits. Buy or renew now online at dbacks.com/advantage.
Lackey will hit here. Now, you've mentioned this, Bob, before. You see, Chris Herman's got the helmet on. But the plate umpires, they just wear caps.
Yeah, just a cloth cap.
And those guys take one every once in a while on a backswing like that, too.
Absolutely. Base coaches have to wear helmets. Obviously, they're in the line of fire down there.
There's Gary Jones at third.
Many times they're standing a lot closer to home plate than 90 feet, depending on base runners and where they have to position themselves. Yeah, I just think the umpires would gladly agree to wear helmets behind the plate.
Doc Rosenblatt's got his on, our Golden Glover down the left field line. And there's Mike McClinsky back there. Those guys take foul balls, and sometimes those bats get them in the head on the back swings. Lackey, the pitcher, is ahead 3-0. D-backs will have Lamb, Goldie, Martinez due up in the home half, 3, 4, and 5. Kyle Schwarber started it off with a home run, his 19th of the year. Alex Avila followed his 13th and his second as a Cub. They go back-to-back off Walker to make it 5-2 Chicago. And after Peralta's 2-run homer, it pulled the Diamondbacks within 1. Goldie, he's got it in foul ground. Well, the heart of the order is coming up, bottom 6. Jake Lamb will get it started. And then it'll be Paul Goldschmidt, followed by J.D. Martinez. Diamondbacks trail the Cubs 5-2. Go back-to-back for the Cubs, who now have a 5-2 lead. Time for the T-Mobile Unlimited Baseball break. Diamondbacks a game behind the Rockies for that first wild card spot. 5.5 up on the Cardinals, 6.5 on Milwaukee, 7.5 on the Pirates. And so here are all the appropriate scores. Colorado lost in Miami tonight, 6-3. Giancarlo Stanton, the big story, did what he does.
Don't throw it.
They never listen. Giancarlo goes Yardo. Cardinals at home against the Braves. And St. Louis won that one 8-5. Brewers hosting Cincinnati. The Reds, who had a 10-2 lead in that game, now lead 11-9. Pittsburgh is at Toronto tonight. And the Pirates won that one 4-2. And a score that all the Cub fans are watching, that St. Louis score. The Cardinals were only 1 game behind Chicago for the NL Central Division lead at the start of play today, and St. Louis has already won. Here's Jake Lamb, who's walked and flied out. First base for Rizzo. Yankees over there, 1 away.
All right, partner, 90s pitching trivia.
Oh boy, you are loaded up.
Wins.
Maddox.
Absolutely. Complete
Nice.
game.
Nailed it. Maddox
again, yeah. 75 complete games in the decade.
75?
Yes.
Wow.
Had 176 wins in the 90s.
That's a lot.
Shutouts.
Not the big unit. No.
Yeah, the big unit.
Yeah, really.
25 shutouts during the 90s.
All right, good call. I'm 3 for 3.
You're rolling.
Goldie, deep right field. Hayward at the wall, and it's gone. His 27th, and it's 5-3.
cut fastball. It just didn't cut. Stayed right there for Goldie that time. Jason Hayward runs out of real estate, kind of jams himself up against the fence out there, and John Lackey with exactly the reaction we thought he would have.
The Cubs on their Twitter feed promised they would stop pitching to Paul Goldschmidt. They never listened. Back after this. Twitter is on it because I mentioned the tweet that they sent out not too long ago that said we promised not to pitch to Paul Goldschmidt, and the Cubs Twitter feed retweeted their own tweet saying, for easy access, since you're searching for it anyway, here's the tweet. That's kind of cute. Nice job there. A couple of Lackey long balls, a 2-run homer by Peralta, the Goldie solo shot. It's a 5-3 ball game. And here is Carl Edwards Jr. on in relief of John Lackey. He'll face J.D. Martinez. J.D. is flied out, grounded out, 0 for 2. Carl Edwards Jr. has really done a good job. At least he did early in the year. He was well on his way to having a tremendous season out of the Cub bullpen. He had a 1.07 ERA in his first 27 games. He was rolling through the middle of June, but lately it's been a bumpy ride. His ERA in his last 23 appearances is over 7. Missed with a fastball there, and it's 2-1 on J.D. Edwards Jr. had a blown save Sunday against the Nationals. Martinez lays off the high fastball, and it's 3-1. Descalso on deck. Peralta, a 2-run homer in the 5th. Goldie, a solo shot here in the 6th. All 4.
Second baseman,
Good at bat there by Martinez. Didn't chase those fastballs out of the zone. And now here's Descalso, who has walked and struck out. See how the game changes for the Diamondbacks offense now that Lackey slider is taken out of the equation. He just had that pitch rolling there for a while. He got 7 strikeouts. Seems like they were all on that slider.
We've heard Torey Lovullo talk about it all summer long, linking the at-bats, building an inning. Well, Paul Goldschmidt's solo home run's a good way to build an inning, and now the walk to J.D. Martinez. Descalso needs to do his job now.
That's been Torey's theme. Have a good at-bat. Don't try to be the hero every time. Just get on base and pass it along to the next guy. Link those at-bats. Well, they got Martinez hung up. There was no signal whatsoever from Mark Wegner, the first base umpire. That's what Descalso's complaining about. None at all. And the Cubs are coming off the field. Here comes Torey Lovullo. Mark Wegner didn't bat an eyelid there. I think there was a lot of confusion about what was happening. But that's the end of the inning. Goldie's homer makes it a 5-3 ball game.
Goldschmidt's solo home run to the opposite field. They trail the Cubs 5-3 as we head to the top of the seventh. Time to take a look at this day in baseball history, brought to you by Geico, our legacy moment. We go back to the 2010 season. The Diamondbacks become the 7th team in Major League Baseball history to hit 4 consecutive home runs in an inning. Adam LaRoche, Miguel Montero, Mark Reynolds, and Stephen Drew all go deep off of Dave Bush.
Oh, Andrew Chafin is on from the Diamondback bullpen. Torey Lovullo still out there on the field talking with Mike McClinsky, the home plate umpire, after a very odd sort of no call down there at first by Mark Wegner. Descalso had no clue what was going on.
Well, unfortunately for the base runner going down the first baseline, if the ball doesn't cross the bag at first, it's not the first base umpire's call. It's the home plate umpire's call. Of course, Daniel couldn't see the home plate umpire running up the first baseline. Anthony Rizzo fielded the ball just before it got to the bag at first and turned it into an easy double play.
So it didn't get heated or anything like that. Torey got his explanation, and that was the end of it. So here's John Jay to lead off the 7th against Andrew Chafin.
Yeah, before the ball gets to first or third base, it's the home plate umpire's call. Once it crosses the bag, it becomes the first or third base umpire's call.
And obviously, Descalso running up the first base line can't see the plate umpire signal anything. So Rizzo simply stepped on the bag, and they had Martinez in a rundown, and that was the end of the inning. Yes, he went, Marty Foster, and it's 0-2. Struck him out. Good start to the 7th for Andrew Chafin. 1 away.
Good hard slider working its way away from the left-handed swinging John Jay. The left-handed pitchers for the Diamondbacks are going to play big in this series with all the left-handed thunder that the Cubs have in that lineup and the switch hitters that they have. You want to turn around to the right side of the plate.
Chris Bryant has singled twice. He's knocked in a run. He scored a run. On Bryant, who was hit by a pitch in the elbow guard his last time up from Taijuan Walker. Do you know about Players Weekend?
I've heard a little bit about it, yeah.
Well, there's going to be a weekend coming up at the end of this month where the players get to have nicknames on the back of their jerseys. Some of them are pretty funny. You know, Goldie will be on the back of Goldie's. Well, Andrew Chafin, you see that mustache there? I was calling him the Sheriff couple of years ago because he's got it. That's kind of the mustache you'd see on the town sheriff in an old western. But everyone said, whoa, hold on, Mark Reynolds, he was the sheriff. But on the back of his Players Weekend jersey, Andrew Chafin will have the Sheriff as his nickname. And you can go to dbacks.com on the MLB website and see all the different jersey nicknames. Chris Owings will have a CO on the back of his. And Patrick Corbin will have Corby. Yasmani Tomas will have El Tanque. The best one, though, the best nickname, as Brian knocks that into center. The best nickname on the back of the Diamondback jerseys is Zach Greinke. His jersey will say Greinke. How great is that?
That's awesome. Now, what's Mark Reynolds wearing?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, I'll find out. I'll go on the Rockies website here and tell you. That's an excellent question.
And I told you we were way ahead of the curve, or at least Johnny LeMaster was, a former teammate of mine with the Giants, who was a whipping boy for the fans there at Candlestick Park. He had Boo, B-O-O, put on the back of his batting practice jersey because that's what he heard from the fans a lot.
We got a problem.
Uh-oh. Another sheriff?
Yeah.
This town ain't big enough for 2 sheriffs.
It's not. Here's Rizzo. Yeah, Mark Reynolds, of course, now in the Colorado Rockies, has Sheriff on the back of his. So something's got to. What if they face each other? Who are we playing that weekend? This could. Oh, we're playing the Giants, okay. So they won't go head to head. Well, that could have been ugly. Well, Reynolds has just Sheriff. And Andrew Chafin will have the Sheriff.
The Sheriff.
So his is a little more official. David Peralta's, of course, will have Freight Train on the back.
Yeah, you want to talk about a sheriff?
There's the real Sheriff. 2-0 on Anthony Rizzo. I was looking on the Baltimore Orioles website the other day, and of course, Wellington Castillo on the back of his will just have beef.
Beef. That's great. Yeah, what did I see? Kyle Seager. What did he have? Corey's brother or something like that on the back of his?
Yeah, I think you're right. That's August 25th, 26th, and 27th. All Major League players will be wearing their nickname jerseys on Players Weekend. And once again, Chris Herman is just taking a beating back there.
You called it, partner.
It's just every game he's back there.
Bit him on the inside of that right foot. Fortunately, there is a little bit of a guard there, but it doesn't help a whole lot.
No wonder he can only catch like once a week. I mean, it takes him 6 days to recover. Chafin behind on Rizzo. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Well, you mentioned the adjustment Anthony Rizzo has made, backing off the plate a little bit to try to get to more of those inside pitches. And we've seen Anthony Rizzo this season when we were at Wrigley Field last week choking up on the bat, sometimes a couple of inches. But right now against Andrew Chafin, he's right down on the knob.
And he walked him. 2 on and 1 out for Zobrist. And now Zobrist, who's a much better hitter left-handed, will flip around and bat from the right side. He singled and scored in the first, 1 for 3. Bryant is the runner at second base and Rizzo at first. Zobrist is about a 180 hitter batting right-handed this year. He's only homered 1 time from the right side of the plate. 2 on and 1 out. I can't believe, speaking of Players Weekend jerseys coming up the end of this month as Herman runs out there to check, I can't believe that nobody as far as I know decided to put "He Hate Me" on the back. That seemed like a no-brainer, didn't it? Somebody would have to do that.
You would think so.
Not one "He Hate Me."
Well, if Milton Bradley were still in the league, I'm sure he probably would have won it.
Thought for sure somebody would. Oh, that was the XFL, right?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Oh yeah.
This is the XFL. 0-1 on Zobrist. Wonder what that guy's doing right now.
Milton?
No, the "He Hate Me" guy. Milton Bradley, he just went back to his board game business, I assume. Wait, what?
Do not pass go.
Late time granted. I remember one time when Carl Everett was playing for the Red Sox, he talked to all the writers there in Boston and insisted there were no such thing as dinosaurs. They didn't happen. And of course, Dan Shaughnessy, the Boston Globe, from then on referred to him as Jurassic Carl. So he could put that on the back of his jersey. Up the middle, Marte. Descalso for 1, and they roll it. Big double play induced by Andrew Chafin. We stretch here at Chase. D-backs down 5-3. Oh, you know what they're doing there, BB?
Dancing.
No, they're getting jiggy with it.
Oh.
Can you tell?
Why wouldn't you?
It's 90s night here at Chase Field. D-backs and the Cubs. What's next is brought to you, as always, by CenturyLink. Game 2 of the 3-game set here tomorrow night. Diamondbacks Live pregame show comes your way at 4:30, a 5:10 first pitch for Patrick Corbin and John Lester. That's a rematch of the crazy 3-rain delay game, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go. That's tomorrow
We don't
night.
have to worry about that tomorrow night.
Fair point. Justin Wilson, the left-hander, is on to start the bottom of the 7th. Ketel Marte. Chris Herman then the pitcher's spot. 7, 8, 9. Let's see. Looks like Chris Iannetta has come out in the on deck circle. The bat for Chris Herman with a left-hander out there for the Cubs. And there is Chris Iannetta. Chris had a couple of home runs in that Dodgers series, so he's on deck to hit for Herman against the lefty Wilson. Ketel Marte has flat out struck out 0 for 2. He flips around now, bats right-handed against Wilson. Diamondbacks have seen Justin Wilson before, certainly as a Cub, but earlier this year as a member of the Tigers. He was the Detroit Tigers closer. In fact, he came to the Cubs in the same deal that got them the catcher right now, Alex Avila. So this whole Cub battery right now came over from the Tigers at the trade deadline. Two and one. Going over his options. A 2-run homer by David Peralta in the 5th. The solo shot by Goldie in the 6th. All the offense so far for the Diamondbacks. They've been out hit by the Cubs 6-4. Came in with a fastball. And the leadoff man's aboard. Good start here in the D-backs 7th. And Iannetta will hit for Herman. Chris Iannetta's had a knack for this kind of thing. We go all the way back to Milwaukee very early in the year. With 2 outs in the 9th inning, Iannetta hit a home run that tied it. And then he got to Tony Watson, who's now a Dodger in Pittsburgh. And we kept going there. So Chris Herman has had a knack for either tying a game with a home run or giving the Diamondbacks the lead. Brandon Drury is out in the on-deck circle. He'll hit for the pitcher, Andrew Chafin. Chris has homered in each of his last 2 games. 231 now, 10 home runs on the year. Chris Bosio making a long slow walk. The Cubs pitching coach going out there. Clock is ticking. He's already lost 10 seconds. He's only got 20 seconds left. These visits are timed now. And when the clock expires, that's when the plate umpire will go out to break things up. But Bosio didn't need a whole lot of time anyway, apparently.
You know what he told him? Stop throwing balls.
Stop doing that. Ouch, quit it.
Very quick meeting out there.
Another left-hander in the Cub bullpen. It's Brian Dunsing.
Well, there's a school of thought that after a pitching coach makes a visit to the mound, look fastball on the next pitch. And Chris Iannetta took a vicious rip at that 95-mile-an-hour heater right in the middle of the zone.
90s night here, and the dude abides.
Dude abides. Shut up, Donnie. You don't know what you're talking about.
This aggression will not stand. 1-1 on Iannetta. You're out of your element, Donnie.
Another good rip.
Say what you want about the tenets of modern socialism, dude. At least it's an ethos. One and two on Chris Iannetta. I'd like to see Chris get one in the gap or something here. 21 of his last 27 hits have been for extra bases. Drury standing by. He will hit for the pitcher Chafin. Diamondbacks still with only 4 hits. Got that cutter in from the lefty, and it's full 3-2. Brewers have lost tonight. That game, that crazy game in Milwaukee, has just gone final. Reds won at Miller Park 11-10. Cardinals beat the Braves 8-5. Rockies lost in Miami. And that fouls that one back. So the Brewers lost. That's good. Cardinals won. That's bad. Rockies lost. That's good.
None of it's any good if the Diamondbacks don't win.
That's true. Marte holds it first. Iannetta looks at a fastball. Mike McClinsky says strike 3.
Looked like a pretty good pitch. Chris Iannetta kind of zoned in on those pitches up in the zone, and Wilson finally pounds one down there at the knees. 96 miles an hour right in the middle of the plate.
Well, here's a chance for Brandon Drury. Came up as a pinch hitter the other day against the Dodgers. Jumped on the first pitch and flied out. He hit for Bonda in the 4th inning against Yu Darvish last night and struck out. 4 for his last 24 up there. Torey Lovullo going into his bench to get a couple of righties up there against the lefty Wilson. Ketel Marte at first. Bullpen really gets busy now. Pedro Strop, the right-hander, joins Brian Dunsing, the lefty. Right-hander warming up with the Diamondbacks bullpen as Drury hits for Chafin. Fastball missed at 97. It's 2-1. Boy, Brandon's had some big hits this year for the D-backs. Base hit here could really get him back on track. He's off a fastball, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike. So Wilson has come in. He walked Marte. Went 3-2 on Iannetta before he struck him out. Now it's 3-1 on Drury. Peralta on deck. Thrown 16 pitches so far, only 6 of them for strikes. Base hit. Over the mound and into center. 2 on and 1 out for Peralta. Our Cox high-speed highlights. David Peralta in the 5th against John Lackey got a fastball.
113 miles per hour off the bat. That ball went 443 feet according to StatCast.
His 11th of the season. Goldie followed with a solo shot in the 6th. Bill Madden has had a lefty warming up for a while in Dunsing. That's going to be it for the lefty. Wilson will take a break from Chase Field. Two have 2 runners on base and 1 out for David Peralta, who homered in his last at bat. Not often you see a left-hand pitcher brought out and another lefty brought in, but you may recall earlier when Wilson was the closer for the Tigers, David Peralta, the hitter, hit a home run off Wilson at Comerica Park in Detroit, and so Joe Madden may be remembering that, or at least looking that up somewhere. Gets Wilson out of there, and he brings in another lefty. It's Dunsing to face Peralta.
Yeah, Wilson more of a fastball pitcher, fastball cutter, everything hard, hard, hard. Dunsing has a few more breaking balls in his arsenal. Wanted to get somebody out there on the mound that could spin it a little bit against David Peralta.
Tying runs aboard with 1 out here. Peralta's homer in the 5th off John Lackey, his 11th of the year. Ketel Marte is the runner at second. Brandon Drury is the tying run at first. David hitting .253 versus left-hand pitchers this year. Long in there on the slider, but it's in there for a strike. Brian Dunsing has really been pitching well for Joe Madden out of the bullpen. 54 strikeouts in 47 games. Fastball that time, and Peralta's ahead, 2 balls and 1 strike. Trying to sneak that slider in through the front door, but missed it. It's 3-1. Pollock on deck.
Well, these were the kind of rallies earlier this season when the Diamondbacks consistently put up crooked numbers. The rallies that start at the bottom of the order. 7-hitter Ketel Marte reached via the walk. Iannetta went down on strikes. Brandon Drury with a base hit. Now we roll around to the top with 2 men on base.
Joe Madden can see the scoreboard. He knows the Cardinals were only 1 game behind the Cubs, the NL Central lead. And St. Louis has won at home tonight. They beat Atlanta 8-5. Cardinals right on the Diamondbacks' heels in the wild card race as well. Full count, 3-2 to David Peralta. Bouncer between first and second. Rizzo gets 1. The force on Drury. Marte into third. And Peralta's aboard at first.
Pretty heads-up play there by Anthony Rizzo. Wasn't sure where the Cubs were going to try to get the out on that play, but Rizzo knows really the only easy play is to get the force on Brandon Drury at second base. No opportunity for Baez to attempt to turn 2.
Well, now you've got the right-hand hitting A.J. Pollock coming up. So Joe Madden checking in with Mike McClinsky as Pedro Strop will come in for the Cub bullpen. We'll take a break. With 2 outs here in the 7th. Some changes for the Cubs. The right-hander Pedro Strop, a 2.49 ERA in 50 appearances this year, is on to face A.J. Pollock. Ian Happ, the rookie, replaces Ben Zobrist at second base. So Happ will bat 9th, pitcher spot now 4th in the Cubs order.
Strope's been on quite a roll lately. His last 22 appearances totaling 20 2/3 innings, only 2 earned runs allowed. That's an 0.87 ERA over his last 22 outings.
2 outs. Ketel Marte is the runner at third. David Peralta is the tying run at first. Here's Pollock 0 for 3. AJ slumping right now, 4 for 33 up there. Fly ball center field. John Jay has room. Diamondbacks threatened, but they can't score. It stays 5-3 Chicago. The Cubs 5-3. Left-hander T.J. McFarland, who worked 2 innings in last night's game, retired all 6 batters he faced, is on to start it for the Diamondbacks. He threw only 18 pitches to get his 6 outs last night, so he'll start the 8th inning against Kyle Schwarber, Alex Avila, and Jason Hayward. Hey fans, don't forget Suns Night is Tuesday, September 12th, right here at Chase Field. Get the special event ticket package that includes a lower level baseline reserve ticket and a co-branded D-backs Suns cap for only $25. This special event ticket pack is available online right now, dbacks.com/Suns. Chris Iannetta takes over behind the plate after he hit for Chris Herman. If you're a Suns fan, you're going to want to get that D-backs cap in Suns colors. It's pretty cool. Albert Almora Jr. will hit for Kyle Schwarber here to start the 8th inning. Almora 278, 5 homers. He homered in the Cubs' last game, which was Wednesday at San Francisco. They lost to the Giants 3-1. Cubs were off yesterday.
That's a pretty easy move for Joe Maddon. He's going to bring Almora into the ball game defensively anyway with a short lead late in the ball game, so send him up there to pinch hit against the left-hander.
That's shot foul. Speaking of the Suns, I saw those new uniforms they rolled out the other day. They're pretty cool looking.
I haven't seen them yet. I heard Archie Bradley talking about them on the radio the other day. He wants to get a Devin Booker jersey.
Yeah, he and D Book.
Yeah.
Got to protect the house.
Got to protect the nest.
Yeah, the Suns, they're a little old school. I kind of like them. They're a little combination of old school and new school. They look. I mean, I won't rest until they bring back the Alvin Adams jersey with the sun on the pants or the shorts. Those were classics. Paul Westphal. But these are really cool, I thought.
With the madhouse on McDowell.
Two and two. Al Moore, the Cubs' first-round pick in the draft 5 years ago out of high school in Hialeah, Florida. Hitting for Schwarber. And he knocks one through into right field, a leadoff single.
Now 10 for 28 off the bench for Joe Madden as a pinch hitter. Pretty solid numbers for a young player. It's unusual to see a young guy succeed as a pinch hitter.
And he can run a little bit as well. The catcher Alex Avila has walked twice and homered. He homered to straightaway center in the 6th inning against Taijuan Walker. After Troy Lovello had Taijuan hit in the home half of the 5th, sent him back out there to get 3 more outs in the 6th inning. And it didn't work. He gave up home runs to lead off the inning to Schwarber, and then this one by Avila. He's got 2 hits as a Cub, both homers.
And a breaking ball that stayed up and out over the plate. A long way to straightaway center.
Cubs have out hit the Diamondbacks 7-5. They lead at 5-3. Each team with a couple of home runs. Schwarber, Avila for the Cubs. Peralta, Goldie for the Diamondbacks. Each team has left 5. Kyle Schwarber's night is over. Avila shows bunt right back to the mound. Checks up for TJ. They move Al Moore along.
Well, that's a nice adjustment there at the end of that play by TJ McFarland. That ball was bunted right back to the mound and actually hit on the edge of the grass where that dirt runway extends from home plate out to the pitcher's mound. And it took a real squirrely hop. He really had to reach out to his right to get that ball, but plenty of time to first to get Avila. Watch his bounce. Way to stay with it.
He thought that might come right back to him. Might be able to turn 2 there. But made a nice play. Gets at least 1. Now he'll work to Jason Hayward. Hayward 0 for 3. Late time called out there. Think about this Cub lineup. These guys should have a basketball team. I mean, Hayward is 6'5". Chris Bryant is 6'5". Anthony Rizzo is a big guy at 6'3". Zobrist is 6'3". They got some tall guys out there.
Back in the day, it wasn't uncommon for Major League Baseball teams to, in the offseason, to send a basketball team out and play against school faculties and Chamber of Commerce teams, and just as an exhibition, get a chance to sign some autographs for the fans all around the state and go out and play a little hoops. Those days are long gone, Aaron Boone.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Aaron Boone. That's why the Yankees ended up with A-Rod. Booney coming off the walk-off homer that won the pennant against Tim Wakefield of the Red Sox. A little pickup basketball game in the offseason. That didn't work out. You were hooping it up back in the day, weren't you?
Oh yeah, we used to have a team that traveled up and down Northern California playing against, as I said, school faculties and local celebrities, the local weathermen. news anchors and what have you. It was always a lot of fun. Nobody ever got hurt.
Those weathermen, they can ball.
They can. They make it rain.
Goldie at first. This will get Almora to third, 2 down. Well, on the road all year long, Torrey and the coaches have gathered. And they have a different site everywhere they go on the road. They'll play a pickup hoop game. Here comes Mike Butcher out to the mound. And everybody plays. Torrey plays. Dave Magadan, by all accounts, has a really good fadeaway jumper. Mike Fetters is an absolute beast under the boards.
Well, judging from the way they look when they come back from some of their expeditions, they get after it pretty hard.
Well, here's Mike Butcher out to the mound, and remember, Torey Lovullo wearing a microphone for us tonight for Fox Sports Arizona, and here he is a moment ago explaining why Mike Butcher's out there right now.
Hey Butch, when you get some out, take a mound visit just so we get up. They're on the same page with Baez and Happ. Whatever they want to do, whoever they want to attach, just make sure we follow through on a game plan and get them on the same page.
Now by them, I'm guessing it's McFarland and Iannetta, right?
Yeah.
So there's a plan for the hitter Baez, and then Happ, who is the on-deck hitter, with Almora at third and 2 outs. Javier Baez, the shortstop, 0 for 3.
You figured there'd be some off-speed pitches involved in the Javier Baez at bat. This guy is steadily looking for a fastball middle of the plate in.
That's great, but if you make a mistake, he will hit it a long way. He's already homered 3 times this month. 16 home runs this season are career high already. Over the mound and into center, and it's 6-3.
Baez being a dead pull hitter 99% of the time. Ketel Marte was cheating over into the hole between third and short, and Baez took advantage, squeaks one up the middle for an RBI base hit.
Just beyond the reach of Ketel Marte at shortstop. So it's a 6-3 Cubs lead. Almora scores. RBI single for Baez, and here's Happ, the switch hitting rookie. Happ 245 and 14 homers. 11 of those home runs has come as a left-hand batter. Baez takes off, and that's just beyond the reach of Descalso. Baez in at third, and they'll stop him there. He's going to run through the sign, and he's in there. Gary Jones put the stop sign up. Javier Baez said, I'm coming home. The throw is well over the head of anybody at home plate, and it's 7-3.
Hit and run there. Happ breaks his bat, but loops it over the head of Daniel Descalso. Now the throw goes into second base. That's when Baez decided to test his luck. He's able to get in on his belly at home plate. Throw should have come to the cutoff man, Paul Goldschmidt. When you have a runner at second base, get the ball back into the middle of the infield on a line to home plate as quickly as you can. That time the throw went to second base, and Baez was able to sneak home.
And Happ is in at second. Here's John Jay, the center fielder. Jay was hit by a pitch in the second inning, stole a base and scored a run. He's 0 for 3 tonight. into center. Here comes Happ. And it's 8-3 Cubs. Three consecutive two-out hits for Chicago.
Cubs giving the Diamondbacks a dose of their own medicine as far as building an inning here. They put down a successful sacrifice bunt. They executed a perfect hit and run. Took advantage of a throwing error by Daniel Descalso on the Ian Happ ball, and now John Jay with an RBI base hit up the middle.
Chris Bryant, 3 hits tonight, all singles. If you're scoring with us, by the way, Ian Happ gets credit for an RBI single. Goes to second on the throwing error on that relay, as Bob mentioned, by Daniel Descalso. So it's an RBI single for Happ at E4. A 3-run Chicago 8th. They've now got 10 hits. Two and one. Bullpen quiet right now for the D-backs. 3 balls and 1 strike on Chris Bryant. Anthony Rizzo on deck. Mike Montgomery, the left-hander, warming up in the Cub bullpen. Got a whole bunch of lefties back there. Ball 4.
First baseman Anthony Rizzo.
Anthony Rizzo now. Rizzo has walked. He's 0 for 3. And 2. D-backs in the home half will have 3, 4, and 5 due up. Lamb, Goldie, and J.D. Martinez. Diamondbacks just not able to get the offense really kick-started. Couple of home runs, but only 3 runs on 5 hits. Cubs have 8 runs on 10 hits. Each team has left 5. And then it can't find it. Everybody moves up. Jay into third and Bryant at second.
That's with an error in the ball game, that Daniel Descalso relay throw to home plate. On the season, when the Diamondbacks do not make an error, they're 23 games over 500. I think it's pretty much similar for just about every team in the major leagues. If you play flawless defense, you got a much better chance to win the ball game. If you make errors, you've got a much better chance to lose.
Rizzo really choking up with 2 strikes, but McFarland gets the strikeout. Cubs add 3. They take an 8-3 lead.
Post-game show that's coming up right after the game tonight. But very quickly, Mark Grace, you just brought this up. What's the common denominator here tonight for the Chicago Cubs and the hits they've been putting together?
Well, one team is hitting with runners in scoring position. That would be the team in the lead, the Chicago Cubs. Unfortunately for the Diamondbacks, hadn't been that way.
We have lots to talk about, but there's lots of baseball left. So let's get it back to the booth. Steve and Bob, it's yours. Take it away. We'll see you afterwards.
Okay, thanks, Todd Gracie. Bottom 8 here. Jake Lamb will lead off the inning for the Diamondbacks. After him, Paul Goldschmidt, J.D. Martinez. Against right-hander Pedro Strop. Lamb has walked tonight. He's 0 for 2. Defensive changes for the Cubs. Albert Elmora Jr. takes over in center field, and John Jay moves over to left after Elmora came on to hit for Schwarber. Lamb drives it to center. Elmora backing up on the track. Chaz Roberts, air conditioning and plumbing, cool play of the game. Goldie with 1 out in the 6th off John Lackey, his 27th of the season.
There's been a lot of highlights offensively for the Diamondbacks in this ball game, but Paul Goldschmidt driving a line drive out of here to the opposite field is always a highlight.
D-backs with only 5 hits, 2 of them are homers. Goldie solo shot, David Peralta 2-run home run. It's going to reach the seats. Chris Herman has a pair of singles, and Brandon Drury a pinch hit single. And that has been the offense. 5 Diamondbacks hitters have walked tonight. None of them have scored. Dodgers are home. They're losing to Andy Green and the Padres. San Diego up 4-3 in the 8th inning. One and 2.
Have Andy Green and Dave Roberts kissed and made up from their little skirmish earlier this year?
No, I doubt it. If you were in a fight with a Dodger, would you make up? Sure. Oh, okay. Give him some time then. There's JD. Well, it's hard to stay mad at Dave Roberts. He's a pretty good dude.
Andy Green too. Both really nice guys, but the heat of the moment got to him a little bit in that game at San Diego.
JD always up there swinging very early in the count. Got a slider that time, and it's 0-1. Sanderson Ford bullpen. Fernando Rodney. Get some work in.
Quick pitch there from Pedro Strop. Seeing a lot of pitchers around baseball go to that very abbreviated quick pitch delivery from time to time, and then hesitation in the middle of the delivery at other times. Just trying to throw off the hitter's timing.
I think the guy who really started making that trendy not too long ago was LaTroy Hawkins.
Yeah, Hawk used to do that a lot when he was closing for the Rockies.
Yeah, but it was a few years ago, and LaTroy Hawkins started doing it. He's the first guy that I can remember in recent years to do it, at least consistently. Now everybody, it seems, tries it.
And of course, Johnny Cueto took it to a whole different level. He needs a dance teacher, choreographer for his deliveries.
Martinez swing and miss, another slider, stroke, a 1-2-3/8 inning. Diamondbacks down 8-3. For Torrey, the boys, they trail the Cubs 8-3. They've been out hit 10-5. DJ McFarland back out there after giving them 3 runs in the Chicago 8th. Pitcher spot to lead it off for the Cubs in the 9th. And here's Tommy La Stella to bat for the pitcher Pedro Strop. Stella recalled for the minors last weekend. Addison Russell is out with a right foot strain right now. Their starting shortstop, so Baez has been playing over there. La Stella up from the minors for the 4th different time this year. And he will lead off the Cubs 9th. Tommy La Stella played his college baseball at Coastal Carolina. He's a Chanticleer.
Yes, indeed, he is. And I know that nickname only because former Giants catcher Kurt Manwaring went to Coastal Carolina. And we used to tease him that his team was called the Chandeliers.
Well, that was rough stuff back in the day. I bet he's still all beat up about it emotionally.
Yeah, pretty much.
Stop saying chandeliers. It's just been that kind of night. LaStella leadoff single.
Well, Joe Madden has gotten great production off the bench this year for LaStella. That's his 6th hit in 17 at bats off the bench as a pinch hitter.
Almora now. He singled and scored in the 8th inning. Well, the Cardinals have already won, as we've told you. They were home against the Braves tonight, and St. Louis beat Atlanta 8-5. So with this Cubs win, unless something changes, Chicago will still be 1 game ahead of St. Louis for the lead in the National League Central Division. However, with this Diamondbacks would-be loss, D-backs wild card lead for that 2nd spot, Bob, is down to 4.5 games if nothing changes here in the 9th. It's 4.5. It's not 10 anymore.
Well, they call it a pennant race for a reason.
One and one, and the race is on. St. Louis is making a run. Brewers were 6.5 games behind the Diamondbacks. Milwaukee lost to the Reds at home in a wild game at Miller Park, 11-10. Rockies were 1 game ahead of the Diamondbacks. Colorado lost at Miami. Chance to get 2 here. Marte, Descalso, double play. So the Diamondbacks are going to stay 1 back of the Rockies, but the Cardinals are now only 4.5 off the wild card pace. Here's the signal in the bullpen from Mike Fetters that Fernando Rodney is ready if TJ McFarland runs out of gas here. Avila has walked twice. He's homered. And he's had a sacrifice bunt, so he's been up there 4 times, but he's only got 1 at bat. And a bases loaded walk in the 1st inning, a solo homer in the 6th. D-backs in the home half. Descalso, Marte, and Iannetta due up 6, 7, and 8. A lot of fans headed outside now to check out the D-backs 90s night post-game street concert. It's free right outside the ballpark as soon as the game is over. Sugar Ray's Mark McGrath is here. He was down in the field before the game with Mike and Vanessa. His concert presented by Crystal Pepsi as part of their throwback tour. That one's going to slice out of play and foul. Don't forget, fans, if you participated, and we encourage you to do so for the rest of the year, in our 50-50 raffle online from home. That's a great idea. You can participate in the Diamondbacks 50-50 charity raffle from home alongside the fans here. Just get your tickets online. You can win half the pot. And the pot was up to like $52,000 tonight. So if you get your tickets at dbacks.com/50-50 raffle, then stay on your TV for the Diamondbacks live post-game show to find out if you won. Somebody could have won like a $25,000 here tonight.
Cha-ching!
Just by watching Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona and playing along with us at home. So Gracie and Todd will have that coming up on the D-backs live post-game show. That's presented by CenturyLink. Avila strikes out. That ends the inning. We'll go to the home half of the 9th. Rally caps are ready. Diamondbacks down 5. bottom 9 here at Chase Field. Diamondbacks down 8-3 against the Cubs. The pitcher for Chicago, their 6th pitcher of the ball game. It's the left-hander Mike Montgomery's 33rd appearance of the year, 3.67 ERA. It'll be Daniel Descalso, Ketel Marte, and Chris Iannetta due up here in the D-backs 9th, 6, 7, and 8. Mark Grace, Todd Wall standing by. D-backs live post-game show will follow our ball game. We'll have the 50-50 raffle winner. And reaction from inside the clubhouse. You'll see Torey Lovullo's post-game news conference. Bob Brenly will have his segment as well. And unless something changes here, the Diamondbacks wild card lead for that 2nd spot will be down to 4.5 games over the Cardinals. They'll remain 1 game behind the Colorado Rockies, who lost at Miami tonight. Descalso 0 for 2. He walked in the 2nd inning. Daniel just about a 180 hitter against lefties this year. One and 2. See, Michael Brenly's Red Sox lost at Yankee Stadium 5-4 tonight.
Yeah, they're 3-0 lead in that ball game. Gave it away late.
Yeah, Jaime Garcia gave up a home run, I think, to Benintendi in that game. Houston Astros are suddenly having problems. The Astros come in here for 2 games Monday and Tuesday. They're playing at Texas right now for that silver golden boot thing that they play for. Rangers won tonight 6-4. Astros, boy, Dallas Keuchel got roughed up again the other night. He's not been the same guy since he came off the DL. Diamondbacks next week will play a 4-game home and home with the Astros. Houston will be here Monday and Tuesday. We go there Wednesday and Thursday next week to start a long road trip. After that, 3 in Minnesota and then 4 at the Mets. But a lot more of this homestand to go. Same 2 teams here tomorrow. Patrick Corbin and John Lester in a matchup of lefties. D-backs live pregame shows at 4:30 on Fox Sports Arizona. 5:10 first pitch. And then a 1:10 start on Sunday. Zach Godley against Jake Arrieta. This is rolled up the line to Rizzo at first. Shovel pass to Montgomery. And they got Descalso in a close play.
Good hustle by Daniel right there. Unfortunately, just a tick late at first base, but still busting it down that first baseline, trailing by 5 runs in the 9th inning.
Ketel Marte 0 for 2 with a walk. Ketel's got a 10-game hit streak on the line right here. He's hit safely in 10 straight games, 13 of his last 15. During that span, he's hitting over .330. Baez at shortstop. Now it's up to Chris Iannetta. Try and keep this thing going.
Catcher, Chris Iannetta.
Chris struck out looking at a 3-2 fastball his last time up against lefty Justin Wilson. Now he's up there against another left-hander, Mike Montgomery. Another quiet offensive night for the Diamondbacks. Only 5 hits in the ball game. All the scoring came on home runs. Two-run homer by David Peralta in the 5th inning. And a Goldie solo shot in the 6th. And so the Diamondbacks, who back on June 27th were 22 games over 500, will lose the opener here against the Cubs, and they will drop. Since that point, June 27th, they will have gone 14-23. One and two. Joe Madden's Cubs will stay a game up on the Cardinals for the NL Central lead. Chris Bryan spins and throws, and the Cubs take the opener 8-3. Another quiet night for the Diamondbacks offense as they can manage only 5 hits.
Well, we saw from the Diamondbacks earlier this year the ability to make adjustments a second and third time through the order against an opposing pitcher, but tonight they just could not solve the John Lackey slider. Got off to a tough start offensively, and then once you get into that bullpen, they've got some arms that can match up with you. Just a tough night once again for the offense.
Well, it was 90s night here at Chase Field, and standing by with Todd Walsh, the man who had more hits in the 90s than any player in baseball, Mark Grace. T, take it away.
Yes, you did, Mark Grace.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Yeah, more than Eddie Vedder, as you said on the pregame show, and he has actually agreed.
Yes.
Listen, I never got my head wrapped around this game for some reason. I'm thinking it's the early lead, but you were talking about that late in the game. It just didn't feel right.
Yeah, it was the 6th inning, and it was like 5-3. And I said, Todd, doesn't it feel like the Diamondbacks are down by 7 or 8 runs? And and I think it all started, Todd, with the way they came out. You know, walks and walking in runs and giving up 2 early runs just set a bad tone, and it never got any better.
All right, we have lots to talk about that, and we'll deal with that when we come back. Diamondbacks Live, the postgame show, is coming up, so stay with us here at Fox Sports Arizona, as I know many of you have throughout the course of the night, because we'll get inside the Diamondbacks clubhouse. We'll hear from skipper Torey Lovullo. Bob Brenly will join us, Joey Jackson on hand as well. We'll look at both pitchers. We'll look at that slider from John Lackey, and we'll look at Taijuan Walker's start. Diamondbacks Live when we return in a moment.